Okay, so we're doing Perik Vav, pesukim Vav through Yud Aleph, because this is what the Meiri directed us towards yesterday, and this is in the intro to Mishlei, which is a preface to the real Mishlei, where he goes in clusters of pesukim that are related instead of individual proverbs. So, Leit el namala atzel re'ed rachaha v'chacham. Go to the ant, you lazy person, see its ways, or see her ways and become wise. Asher ein la katin shoter or moshe. She doesn't have an officer or a chief or a ruler. Yet, takin bakait lafma. She prepares her food in the summer. Agra bakatir machala, and she gathers her in the harvest her food. Ad matai atzal tishkav. How long, oh you lazy person, will you sleep? Matai takum mishnasaka. When will you get up from your slumber or from your sleep? Sorry. How long, oh lazy person, will you lie down? When will you get up from your sleep? Ma'at shenos ma'at tenumos ma'at tibukidam lishkav. A little bit of sleep, a little bit of slumber, a little bit of folding your hands to lie down. Uba kimhalach reishacha umachzorcha ki ish magin. And your poverty will come like a traveler, and your lack like an armed man. Yeah. And the question is that we were dealing with, we didn't record for the first 15 minutes, that's why this is shorter. But the question we were dealing with is, oh yeah, I had an association now. We missed 15 minutes. This might save me $2 if I go over my my podcast link. I don't know, but anyway. What do you call it? I was just thinking that because it says your poverty will come. But yeah. What exactly is this strategy of telling us to go to the ant? Because an ant, it's true the ant does this without being governed by a ruler, but it's programmed to do this. We are not programmed to do this. So like, what are we supposed to learn from it? And then what's the relationship between the mashal and the nimshal? Sounds like he doesn't fully state the nimshal. Sounds like he implies the nimshal and then spells out a warning to not give in to this lazy desire. And what exactly is this warning? So does anyone have any ideas, or should we just jump into the Meiri?
Well, just observing like the attribute of the ant that he seems to be highlighting is the fact that despite the fact that he doesn't have any sort of like governor, he like the ant still um, like prepares food and then gathers it.
Yeah.
Which is being contrasted with an Antel, because an Antel presumably does not do that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
He can plow the winter.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
He can plow in the winter, but he won't harvest in the summer. Even if he has, he puts his hands in the bowl. He's not gonna.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that's not like an explanation of fixing themselves. So,
mm-hmm. Maybe I missed what you said. Say it again. I got distracted.
That was my fault.
Yeah. So I'm saying basically, it seems to be highlighting the quality of the ant, despite having nothing propelling it,
mm-hmm.
still does what it needs.
Mm-hmm.
For food. Where as opposed to an Antel who doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Like he won't plow in the winter, he won't harvest in the summer.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's the quality that it's highlighting of the ant, though, is it doesn't have a ruler.
Yeah.
Right. Meaning it doesn't have a ruler, and yet it does this. So like the opposite. So it's clearly right that the Atal doesn't prepare stuff. But like, what's the ruler dimension of it? Like,
it's also the Atal is like waiting for someone to come along and for them to do it.
Oh, that's interesting.
Like he's not.
That's possible.
Yeah.
Right.
What did we say about Atal yesterday? About why? Oh yeah. So I guess he's expecting things to just work out for him. That was what he said yesterday.
Right.
And I guess what goes along with that is that if he he's not denying that there are things that he needs to do sometimes.
Yeah.
But he's waiting for someone to come along and tell him to do them.
Yeah.
He's not let's say taxes are a thing, but he's waiting.
Ouch.
I was thinking about this because it's something I think.
Yeah.
When people
adults,
is sorry. Change my mind.
Right to the jugular.
My kids are oh, that's good. I'm
yeah.
Yeah. So when a person like let's say starts living on their own is he like knows that doing taxes is like a thing, but like he's like waiting for someone to like come and like tell him that he has to do that,
Hmm.
and like because it's like everything either gets done by someone else
Hmm.
or it like gets done by some like magic.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, well, like not seeing like not in the way of like cause and effect, basically.
Hmm.
Um, or if it's something that he needs to do, then he'll be given instructions on what to do.
So here's the thing that I definitely see where you're getting that in the pasuk, but the thing that I'm bothered by is like, is that really going to happen? Like the lead person will have someone tell him to do stuff. I don't think he's going to do it still.
It's the melech. It's not just anyone. It's someone with an authoritative position.
I don't think it's going to work. Like you have all these pesukim about like the lazy son or whatever. I'm sure his dad tells him that you have to like work.
I mean,
And just given our definition of a lazy person from before, that if he avoids immediate pain and conflict at all costs, then like someone telling him to do it might even make things worse. In the sense that it's going to just stimulate his, I got this excuse, I got that excuse.
Okay, I guess this is not gonna not answering that,
Okay.
but I think I was overplaying how he'll respond to someone telling him what to do.
Mhm.
But I think the I guess the point that I'm making is that there's things that like get done that just get done, and the things that like he needs to do, and that like people are like telling him he needs to do,
Mhm.
and I think he has a different relationship to those things.
Mhm.
I don't know if that's necessarily what.
Okay, I hear that version. Yeah.
so kind of has a question. So who is an individual who 'cause I see this all the time where someone just doesn't someone has no structure. He knows he's supposed to be doing a job, it's just he is lazy in doing it. However, he will do it if someone tells him to do it.
Right. Yeah. So
So who is that person?
that's a good question.
I see that all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, I don't know who that person is, but it doesn't strike me that is the lazy person. Yeah,
It's possible this is like a specific rationalization that a lazy person can make.
it's
That,
possible. Yeah.
that like, oh, there's no one telling me to do it. That's why I'm not doing it.
Uh-huh.
Because, but if someone came along and told me to do my taxes,
Right.
I would definitely do it. But
Yeah.
there's just no one's creating my head.
Right. Yeah, that emanates more from the pesukim.
Mhm.
Well, I just wanted to make one other point also that I think also comes from the pesukim. Yeah.
I was gonna okay I was gonna um like strengthen your question about
Sure.
it. Okay, so like about just about the upsell not doing something even if people are telling him to. My example yesterday when I like didn't apply for college because I was just like I was just like couldn't bring myself to do it. My mom was like telling me like oh like you should be working on your
Right.
application, how's your application going?
Yeah, yeah.
And like I was just like
I get emails from TurboTax telling me to do my taxes, just so everyone knows. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's I do think that strings into my question. So let's combine that with how does Shlomo motivate the lazy guy here?
He tells him to go look at the world.
So it's interesting. I don't think that's where he's telling him to get the idea, but how does he actually motivate him?
he's like, how long are you asleep? There's a little sleep, little dozing, little folded. Okay, I don't know exactly how to read that part. And you're like you're gonna like become bored.
Yeah. So he motivates him with immediate pain.
Yeah.
He says your pain is going to come immediately. You're going to suddenly just realize that you don't have food. You're poor. So I think to me that's a solid observation because it fits right into the lazy person's personality. Is he wants to avoid immediate pain at all costs. Now in reality, the pain is far off in the future, but the way Shlomo presents it to him is it's going to like Kimahalik, I don't know if I'm getting it from the Meiri because I didn't read that far this morning, but like the Mahalik thing is like basically someone shows up at your door, like I guess this happened like from time to time. It was like people show up at your door, like I need a place to stay, or a bandit also, like you just get mugged, so you're gonna feel like you just got mugged, but really you didn't get mugged. Really you were just sleeping and like stalling and procrastinating. And then when the time caught up to you and you have the lack, then it's not there, So like my question, so I think that's a solid observation for the second half. My question is, can we combine the thing you said of this rationalization of someone will guide me and instruct me, and then the way that Shlomo actually motivates him, and then the practical means of avoiding the rationalization of, I'm just going to take a little rest here on the couch,
If he just needs a direction, meaning once he, is surrounded by the immediate pain, now he just needs someone to guide him to.
Right, but doesn't the point seem to be that he shouldn't need that? Like, isn't that what we're telling him to look at the ant for? Meaning it like, and also the example that he uses, I think, is an obvious one in terms of especially like from I mean, it's the same application as yesterday of like, I should have said the word trigger warning before his application, but like it's everyone knows that you don't have a crop if you don't plant it, and you're not gonna plant it if you don't plow it, so it's not like he needs guidance. Like, this is the plowing season, everyone's plowing, like with something that's much more sophisticated, or not sophisticated, something that's more complex, like maybe he needs a guide,
Maybe just his motivation, like he just needs someone to.
I think this is, so again, this is, I'm coming down strong on this because I think this is a key mistake people make about laziness. People treat laziness as a lack of motivation, and I'm not saying Saudi Gon's definition is the only definition, but it's the only one I hold by. Is that it's not a lack of motivation, it's not a lack of energy, it's not a lack of drive, and you see that because he wants food, and he puts his hand in the bowl. He's totally motivated to eat. It's the immediate pain that prevents him from acting. So it's not a lack of motivation, and that's why he has to put it in terms of the immediate pain.
Yeah, like let's say like my application.
Your highly taxing application.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I was like it wasn't like I didn't want to apply. Like I
Right.
was like among other things, I was like, worried about like what what happened like when my parents like found out that I hadn't like really been like working on my application. Like I like
Which is such a funny, ironic like thing. I'm like, so like the obvious solution is, but that's how the emotions work. Yeah. Right.
yeah. And like I actually have a different example where I was actually very motivated, but I didn't like do what I needed to do because it was a more painful thing.
Mhm.
So 2 years ago when I was applying for Google Summer Code,
Mhm.
I so
No, sorry, just funny. It is funny how application deadlines are like our form of the harvest.
yeah.
I think because there is like an absolute cutoff point, it's just, it's funny how like we're so far removed from the natural world that there's like almost nothing in the natural world except these artificially imposed human constructs.
Well, I say it's more like plowing.
Yeah, right, yeah. But plowing is because it's dependent on the natural world.
Yeah. Yeah, you said it's like our form of the harvest. I'm saying.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. So, basically, I need to work on like my project proposal, and because that was like it was like basically a nebulous thing that was like very painful to do.
Mhm.
I spent a lot of time looking into like I'd say the peripheral aspect of my project,
Yeah.
like what I would need, like basically the things I would need to do when I was actually working,
Yeah.
but like that I didn't need to do during application time. And I learned a lot about that. And I was definitely like feeling motivated. Like it wasn't like I was not motivated. I was putting a lot of time into like getting ready for my project, but like because I was avoiding the more painful aspect, which was working on the actual project proposal.
Mhm.
I like I submitted like a very like poor quality project proposal. I didn't get accepted.
Yeah. Another good example.
Yeah,
No shortage of examples.
yeah, and there I was motivated.
Right.
But
Yeah,
I was
that's the key
avoiding the
point.
painful part.
Right. Yeah.
Is there another aspect of I guess like I mean I don't know, maybe this isn't part of the outside personality, but like targeting his ego, like saying like, oh, you're no better than like you're like an ant, or, like,
Okay.
you're worse
So
than an ant.
yeah. So let's. I don't think we're gonna have time to go through the whole Meiri today. So maybe we'll do it on Monday. But the first point he makes is about this method of go to the end and learn.
Mhm.
So let's do that. And I think because that's really what you're saying here. So first of all, let's do the little mini paragraph where he says the general thing. I think this is what Meiri does in the intro to Mishlei is he gives a little summary of like what the theme of the entire thing is, and then he goes into depth interpreting the pesukim.
Little summary, a little explanation, a little.
Halavai. Hakavana behem lapia nigla lihios ha'adam charut b'matzav v'zaris b'chol pe'ulotav. So the intent in this, according to the external meaning, is that a person should be diligent in his actions and alacritous in all of his activities. That's not a word. And he should not be lax in striving to acquire money because to achieve his needs. But sorach based on the needs of his house. The haritus is in diligence and alacrity. But od yesh le'el yada while he still has the opportunity. Oh, this is a cool point, the way he says this. You should worry about the time of old age, when he won't be able to work and toil. Your youth should sustain your old age, meaning like you have to take care of the old version of yourself, while you're young, Yeah.
It's like his version of the fourth ended summer.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it is like that. Yeah. V'amar leit on the mala atel v'gomer. Derech hamochiach b'chol hamadavrim b'ruach hakodesh. So it's interesting. It says both. It's the way of the rebuker and anyone who speaks with ruach hakodesh. Laharuth lenochachim dugma min hashfalim be'erech lenochachim. To show those who are present an example from the lowly, from things that are lowly in comparison to those who are present, meaning something lowly in comparison to the audience. So that the audience makes a kal v'chomer about themselves. And it arouses their heart to take mutter. How did you say that, Jatam, before we said this?
Like basically like attacking his ego.
Yeah.
Is like worse.
So that's the Shalom thing. That's it. Yeah.
It's motivating. It's rather than just trying to, it's not just like trying to feel it. It's also like trying to stir the ego against the us.
Yeah, right. Now he gives two examples. The first one I am familiar with, and the second one I'm not, but I think I can still get the second one from this without knowing the story. So the first one is Ki'inin Mash Amar. So this is like what he said. This is a Yirmiyahu. Avru iye kitim ru'u v'kedar ru'u. This is can you hand me the Tanakh? This is the punctuation is weird here. Yirmiyahu 2, 10, and 11. This is Yirmiyahu says like this. Ivru iye kitim ru'u v'kedar shilchu v'hitbonenu ma'od. He said, traverse the isles of the Hittites and observe, send forth into Kedar and consider deeply. So I don't know exactly where these things are, but it's like basically like our equivalent of like far off islands where like there are these primitive tribes, and like in the desert where there are these like primitive nomads. Okay. Uru, and see, has there been anything like this? So what's the this? Has any nation exchanged its God for a non-God? But my people have exchanged its glory for something that doesn't benefit. So he's basically telling Bnei Israel, if you look at all of these other nations, and you can analyze this later on, but he says no nation has exchanged its God for a non-God, but you guys have given up Hashem for these Baalim. Okay.
Wait, they do worship Uridar.
Right, but they haven't given up their God for a non-God. Yeah. Now, Abravanel says, what do you mean they have? Like there are plenty of times when nations convert,
Right.
So like you can understand that. Like I believe his answer has something to do with the fact that any nation will only give up its God if they think that it's superior.
Mhm.
But Bnei Yisrael know that Hashem took them out of Mitzrayim and like gave them Eretz Israel and stuff like that, and yet they're still worshiping other gods, thinking that they're going to get benefits from that. Even though they have an evident demonstration of God's power. So he's bringing an example from like these primitive people and saying, you guys are worse than the primitive people. And in fact, he actually Yeshayahu, he doesn't give this example. Yeshayahu does the same thing. Is it Yeshayahu? An ox knows its master, and a donkey knows the one who feeds it, but my people don't know their God, Yeah, but then this other example is an interesting one. V'chein inyan ma sheyonadav ben Rechev tziva es banav shlo yishtu yain. So this is, I don't know the story.
I think, yeah. So I did like part of this Meiri.
Yeah.
But I think tomorrow night I looked into this. I think it was it was just like a random person. He just like told him.
Okay, random, that fits in. It's a
Yeah,
random person.
Random
Okay,
person,
yeah.
He just told his kid like
Don't drink wine. Yeah. So let's see what happens. Yeah. I think I'll say. Don't drink wine. Ukashayu Yisrael mamrin as pi hakel umasarvin b'divrei hanavim. So when the Jews were rebelling against God and resistant to the words of the Nevi'im, Amar hakel Yirmiyah, then God said to Yirmiyahu, Sheyelech livnei Yonadav, that he should go to the sons of Yonadav, v'shiyashke osam yain ka'amro. So he told Yirmiyahu, go to the sons of Yonadav and give them wine to drink. Okay. Go and give them to drink. Flomar, what does it mean? It doesn't mean actually like force feed them wine. It means like make as if you're going to give them wine. Okay. The halach lahem, the mitzvah hakel, the nevuah. So he went to them by the command of God through nevuah. V'yomar shisu yain. He said, drink wine. V'yomru lo, and they said, chalila lo nishte yain. Ki Yonadav avinu tzivanu lemor lo tishtu yain. God forbid that we should drink wine because our father Yonadav commanded us not to drink wine. Hashem said to Yirmiyah, halok v'amarta l'bnei Israel. Go and talk to Bnei Israel. Halot tikahu musar. Will you not take musar? Ki hukam es divrei Yonadav ben Rechav shetiva es banav lemor lo tishu yain. He set forth for them an example of Yonadav ben Rechav who commanded his sons not to drink wine. But anochi shilachti lachem es neviai. I sent you my prophets. Pasuk every morning, v'shaloach. I continue to send them every morning. You didn't listen to my voice, right? So it's basically saying like this guy tells his sons don't drink wine, and that's it, they don't drink wine. But I'm sending you my prophets every day, and you guys still aren't listening to me, right? Ul'amim al zeh hatzad yireh lahem dugma mishar balei chaim she'ein lahem seichel. So that's why sometimes he'll give an example from animals that don't have an intellect. U'v'teva munach nimta lahem derech yakar. And it's just in their nature that that they're like stable nature that that they have a derech yashar b'masha hanochachim ya'atuhu, which those who are which the audience of Mishlei perverts. Okay, meaning I think this actually. Oh, he quotes the example I was saying. So that's opening in the opening of Yeshayahu. An ox knows its master, and a donkey the trough of its owner. Israel doesn't know. My people don't understand. That's why it's telling us to go to an atel. Okay, and you can skip. He goes on a whole discourse about why it says the word lech. Okay, skip that to the next bold line or the next bold phrase. Lech anamal atel. Klomar, he daris lahania seichlecha. Motivate yourself to apply your mind. Lihis bonin beinyan hanamala, to contemplate the namala. Uliros derachaha ad shetikne la'atzma zrizut v'charitus mimah shetira beinyana. Okay, fine. Okay, skip down to Zion. Okay, Asher ein la katzin shoter Moshe. We'll summarize in a second. She kablu and hagam imenu. So it doesn't have any ruler or officer or whatever to receive. What was it?
Manager.
A manager. Thank you. To receive management from Hanaga. And this is a mashal for the fact that it doesn't have an intellect to guide it. Rak koach dimioni levad. It just has an imaginative faculty. V'alpa pichein parachat kol hatirchos umishtadelas kol tzadei ha'hishtadlus asher karnu lahachim ma'achala. And nevertheless, it exerts all this effort and does all this striving that we mentioned in order to prepare its food. V'od chachma gedola ki titrach bo kodem shitzarach la. Furthermore, there's another chachma in it that it boils before it needs it. V'tachinehu b'kayitz l'tzorach hachoret. It prepares it in the summer in preparation for the winter. Kasher yid ki b'chorav lo timta'ehu. Because it knows that in the winter it won't find it. one more pasuk, and then we'll go back. V'hu omro pachim b'kites lachma agra b'katzir machala klomer b'kites l'tzorach hachoret. It gathers in the summer for the needs of the winter. V'ata ben adam he'atzel milvakish michyasa, and you lazy person who is too lazy to seek out your livelihood, your sustenance. Eif lo tevot, how can you not be ashamed? Lo tikach musar v'das mikatne habriot umishvale ha'valechaim. How can you not take musar and das from the lowliest of creatures? Yeah, so lots of things going on here. So first of all is hitting him in the ego, taking an example from a lowly animal or from lowly human beings, and saying like, these guys could do it and you can't do it. You're so much smarter, and you have so much more like stature, and you can't even do this basic thing, So it is an interesting strategy. It's not a purely chachma based strategy. It's hitting the emotions. It's talking to the emotions, saying like if this ant could do it, this kid could do it, these these primitive people can do it, and you can't do it.
So is that like, is it like the fact that we know that it's an emotional like attack?
Yeah.
Can we still use it?
So that's the question with all emotional strategies. Does it take the power away when you know how it works?
Yeah.
And I feel like I have enough confidence in our emotions, and our ego, that it still hurts, even though you know that your ego's being hit.
Yeah.
I do want to. It's a question worthy to think about though, because I feel like there are strategies that don't work once you know how they
But
work.
this one, I definitely do still feel motivated. Like, come on, look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if nothing, you're worth it up though.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah. But then the interesting thing is, again, it's not even, if it used an example of a simple human being, that still is in the same realm, but it's even using an example that's not true. Like an ant operates based on instinct, and you're not operating based on instinct. So you could make an easy rational argument, like, yeah, if I were programmed to do this also, then I would do it, but I'm not,
Yeah.
but it's still like, it can still hit.
But isn't there someplace else where like they, say you should learn from like these specific, I don't know.
Here.
No, not here. It's not
Yeah.
just not just ants. It's,
Are you talking about
other-
Parakshira? Yeah, I've never actually seen Parakshira, but I is that ethical lessons, or that's about praising God?
Wait,
I don't
what
know.
is Parakshira?
Parakshira, I don't even know what it is. It's
I thought it was a Chazal thing.
no, right, but I think it is a Chazal thing,
I think
but
they
like what?
took him from like each animal has its pasuk or something.
But I thought it was a song.
Yeah.
It's not. I thought it was. I've never looked into it, so I don't know.
I thought like towards the end of Mishlei, there's like it goes through.
And initially, it definitely does this. I mean, the more common thing is Aesop's fables. Like that uses the animal lesson from animals. As like the venue. I used to incorporate that into my Mishlei class because there's a someone in the Middle Ages wrote a book called Mishlei Shualim, which is a Hebrew translation of Aesop's fables and like Arabic fables also, but like I think they tie it to pesukim. It's fun to read, but yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so there's a genre, is learning from animals in Mishlei and not elsewhere.
Right. So I mean, so what would that mean? I mean, are we gonna be degrading every human? I mean,
No, I mean, isn't he explaining why we do this? Is that it is trying to hit your ego by saying like even an animal can do this, and like you can't do this,
Well, also it could be, to our point, it could be like saying that like this is the way that you. Well, it's not really a Mishlei point, but like this is how you like be in line with like Hashem. Like the way that the universe works is like whatever, like animals doing these activities like leads to their success. So like if you want success, you could do these actions, even if like they're doing it based on instinct, you can choose to do that.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not an argument to say, well, the ant prepares its food, but I operate differently than the ant.
Right.
Well, do you not need to prepare your food? And if you follow the strategy of the ant, would it or would it not help you?
Right.
And like, yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Okay, fine, yeah.
Yeah.
Because there are qualities that you can learn from nature.
Right.
Yeah, but like, I think the thing about whether like would following the strategy actually help you like the important aspect of it. You can also say like the ant has absolute obedience to the queen, and like this is like completely dependent on the queen's orders.
Yeah.
And like that's not a good quality for a human to have.
Right.
It's
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can learn opposite qualities. Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet the outside will do that to try to rationalize. Like, I'm not gonna learn from the ants, stupid ants. You know? Yeah.
That's true. Why doesn't he do that?
Because that's not the point of them. Oh, well, I mean, Otto might do that, but I'm saying like that Shlomo's counting on you not doing that because that's not the point of the muscle. The point is not to emulate,
That's
not to try to lift 20 times your body weight. You know. But then there's this other point that he made, which is that you're perverting your natural. It does this by natural instinct. He used the term perverting your natural thing. It says, "V'teva munach nimsa lahem derech yashar, b'med shehanochachim ya'avtzuhu." So in the ant, there is a stable nature that is perverted in those who are in the audience members. You know, so I think that is a thing of like, yeah, you naturally should prepare food for yourself. So it's like it is a deviation from what you're a physical creature that needs food, and like you have a survival instinct, and your survival instinct should lead you to do stuff for your survival. But there's some sort of perversion going on where like you are not doing that, and I think that like it's saying it's unnatural, it's pathologizing. Yeah, it is though. You know, yeah.
I mean, yeah, telling you to do different things than you're doing.
You're using the word perversion though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Meiri is different stuff.
Meiri is pathologizing. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So I think that bears thought also.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so let's stop here, and then I do want to go on those next book in 8. Was it 9 through 11 appear twice in the intro to Mishlei, and I want to see what is said there because that seems to be its own thing. And let's do that on Monday then.
Oh, so
Yeah.
question. Why is it because man has the Selma-Kim, like because he can make decisions that he also that if he just gives into his instincts, it's not going to work. Like why is that?
That's a good question. That's I don't know. I don't even know what genre, what subject that question is in. Whether it's in like ethics or metaphysics or like yeah. I mean we know it doesn't work, but the question is why. Yeah. Oh, that was I didn't get that quote on here. I'll just say the quote. Right, is that man has one fundamental choice: to be a rational human or a suicidal animal. Meaning that animals rely on their instincts, and then that leads them to success. Human beings, if they rely on their instincts, it will lead to their destruction. And that's why we call it the Yetzer Hara, not because it's evil intrinsically, but because if you followed it, it will lead to your Ra. But if you harness it, then it's for Tov. Yeah.
That's by a certain Russian Jewish thinker.
That was by a certain Russian Jewish thinker. Yes, Alyssa Rosenbaum. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Let's stop
Wait,
here.
I didn't hear